Hello and welcome to another midweek message. Can you hear that noise? They're digging up the road and putting a new gas main in, new pipes to all the houses. They're going to be doing this for 7 weeks. I might have to wait actually until they take a break for lunch or until they finish this afternoon because all the windows are shut and it's very loud in here. Okay, just quickly, 10 degrees this morning, centigrade, 50 Fahrenheit. 82% humidity, 1026 millibars, and the flag, would you believe, is again a real breeze, well, even a wind from the east. It's horrible. It's a chilly wind, beautiful summer's day. Well, it's not summer yet, but blue sky, sunshine. I was out in the garden yesterday in my shorts, frightening the neighbours. I heard screams, windows slamming shut. No, not really. I've got lovely legs. What am I talking about? I'm going to make a cup of coffee and wait till they have a break. They've stopped. I don't know what they're doing, but they've stopped. I might not have long. It was loud. As I said, we've got the house building over the back. We've got a chap over the road working on his house. Then we've got the gas main being replaced in the middle of the road. Silence at the moment. Right, what was it I was going to say? Where's my notes? I was going to mention Sunday, wasn't I, about the Australian chap that wasn't Australian that came into the bar. This is years ago. What an idiot. I was in this bar, as I often was in the early days. Not anymore. I can't afford it. Stone the beer prices. Tax. It's tax, isn't it? It's the government. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. This chap came in, and I can't do it. G'day, cobber, and all this nonsense to the landlord. The landlord said, oh, welcome, you're obviously from Australia. Whereabouts? I'm from Sydney and all this. I can't do the accent. And I thought, hang on, I know him. His name was Richard, and I knew him from a few years back. And he didn't see me, so I sort of kept my face out of sight for a little bit, just to see what he was saying. He was talking about he'd come over from Australia, and he was on a holiday just for a couple of months, and have a look round the UK. When he eventually, of course the landlord was taken in by all this, his accent was very good, he put on a good accent, so the landlord was taken in by all this. Then the landlord wandered off to change a barrel or something, and this chap looked over at me and I said, hello Richard, how you doing? And his face, he went red. Oh yeah, oh g'day, Conrad, do I know you? I can't do it. Do I know you and all that? And I said, well of course you know me. Richard, come on, you were a caretaker up at the local school. I won't mention the school. No, caretaker. No, not me, caretaker. The landlord finally came back and I said to this Richard, I said, so what's with the Aussie accent then? I mean, you're as English as I am. You've lived here all your life. Yeah, I've known you for years. What's all this Aussie accent? And of course, he just then started to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Later, the landlord came over to me and we were chatting and I explained that this chap wasn't Australian. What's the point of doing that? Was he showing off? Anyway. And then people say to me, oh, why don't you like people? Well, that's why I don't like people. I mean, they're not all like that, obviously. What else have I got written there? Oh, yes, this is funny. Have you ever heard of a bolster pillow? Take your double bed. You've got a pillow each side. Well, this one, oh, hang on, they've just started an engine up. Goodness me. This one is the width of the double bed. It's a huge, long bolster pillow. So we were given one, brand new. Chap didn't want it, brand new, and it's packing. So we put it on the bed and then put our pillows on top of it, and it's not very comfortable at all. Have you ever heard of a bolster pillow? That was the question. Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm going to have to stop in a minute. They're off again out there. I remember when I was a child, my mum had a bolster, and she would put it between me and my sister in this big bed. It wasn't a double, but it was a wide single, and she put... I'm going to have to... I'll see you in a minute. Sorry about the noise. Right, they seem to have stopped again for a minute. I've just made a cup of tea. I was grammatically incorrect, wasn't I? I said me and my sister. It's my sister and me. The bolster pillow was put between my sister and me, not I. We won't worry about an English lesson at the moment. So have you heard of a bolster pillow? I think we were staying somewhere. Was it an auntie's place? And there was this big bed. So we were only, 6 years old, 4 or 5 years. I don't know what we were. So my mum put the bolster down. I think there was an argument. Someone was kicking someone. Get off, you're kicking me, get off. In the end, my mum came in with this bolster. Put that between you, now be quiet. I go to sleep. Happy days. But these bolster pillows in the old days, I'm not really sure what they were for. I think they went under your two normal pillows. Anyway, we've got this bolster, and I think it'll be right if we can flatten it a little bit. Something else I was going to mention to you on Sunday, and I didn't get round to it. A lot of youngsters listen to the podcast episodes. I know that from the messages and emails I get. The most asked question is, what's it like being old? That's nice. What's it like being old? What do you mean old? I'm not old. And someone asked me that the other day, a friend of a member of the family. This boy was, about 16, 17, and we were chatting in a family group, and he just said to me, what's it like being old? I sort of narrowed it down a bit. I said, well, in what respect being old? I said, there are things that I can't do now. I'll go out into the garden, start digging a hole, and my back hurts. I said, there's that sort of thing. That's one thing about getting old. And it was quite interesting because he said, well, do you think the same as you did when you were my age? So that's an interesting question. Yes, about a lot of things. Yes, I do think the same. Then he asked about music and pubs. Do you like going to live bands? Which I do. Not all of them, because some of them are rubbish. And I told him about the Pink Floyd tribute that we've been to see. We saw them in Hastings. We saw them we've seen them several places. And we're going again this September. The Pink Floyd tribute band. Absolutely fantastic. He said, have you seen the Rolling Stones? Yes. We went up to London and saw the Rolling Stones. He said, would you like to go again? And I said, well, of course. He said, well, you're not too old then to go to a Stones a gig, a concert, whatever they call these days. I said, not at all. I said, the only thing is the travelling. Go up there by train, get on the tube, all that business. I said, I really can't be bothered with that. We went to Bournemouth and saw a Jimi Hendrix tribute. He was fantastic. If you closed your eyes, you'd think it was Jimi Hendrix. I mean, you might not be into that, but I am. And I told the lad about Hendrix. And he said, did you ever see him? Yes, I did, at the Royal Albert Hall. And again, he said, would you go and see him now that you're old? He kept saying, now that you're old. Hang on a minute. I'm not ancient. I'm not 105. So it was quite an interesting conversation. I won't go into it all now because it'll be a bit boring. He just wanted to know how my thinking is today compared to how it was when I was 16. Obviously different in a lot of ways. There's one thing I never did, which I really would love to do. Now, you'll think I'm mad. I'd love to go to an illegal rave up the downs, up the hills in the countryside somewhere, with the music, the and the lights flashing and the smell of cannabis. What am I saying? No, stone the crows or get stoned, one or the other. I'd love to do that. I really would. A rave. I see them on YouTube and things with the flashing lights it's just fantastic. And now this lad, he couldn't believe it. He said, I've been to a rave. I don't know whether it was legal or illegal. I've been to a rave. He said it was good. And I said, were there any old people there? And he said, well, of course not. No. See, that's a funny way of looking at it. Why, of course not? I like it. Why can't I go? I have said to Trish in the past, if I turned up at a rave, they'd look at me, I'd probably get thrown out. What are you doing here? Get out of it. Can't have old men here. Anyway, there we are. I think they're about to start up their machinery again, so I'm going to disappear. But I'm glad I did actually manage to have a quick chat with you. Oh, before I go, for those of you who are interested in Gary the Tortoise, I'm going to put a video of him eating something. A video of him eating something, you're thinking, is that a good idea? Do we want to see that? Of course you do. Those interested in Gary will do. He's fully out of his hibernation period now, stomping around the garden and eating very well. Have a look at that. That's raiserants.info, the website, raiserants.info. Have a look at Gary. Be good, be bad, don't get caught, and I shall hopefully have a chat with you on Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye for now.